We're seeing a bit of a shuffling of the pack, aren't we, in terms of which of the coins are in focus. We spend a lot of time talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, but actually it's the stable coins that you say are now perhaps going, well, maybe some people are saying will look to dominate, although it was stable coins we saw chaos in earlier on this year.
So yes, stablecoins are now 3 of the top 6 cryptos in terms of market cap. Of course, they're stable. They're no longer an appreciation play, and I don't think they're going to attract interest for long. Stablecoins are essentially like the casino chips in the casino. There's not much use if there's no casino out there. So if, for example, you get to a world where the largest market caps are things like Tether or USD coin or other stablecoins, what's the point of having them if you can't bet on anything? So I find this a bit of a weird dynamic that they're becoming so dominant, and that is because people are leaving the casino. Business is closing at the moment. Generally, we're seeing a strong bounce across crypto. You're asking what I'm watching for next. On the downside is there an MSTR, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor liquidation point? I have no real idea about that, but people are wondering about that. There's been a lot of speculation about that over the last couple of years. From what I understand, his debt is quite long-term, so there's no real stress, but people are wondering because we've also taken another major leg lower. On the flip side, if we get through this washout, is this now going to be really appealing to those diamond hands, those holders or those hodlers that will just buy in to kind of stack away forevermore? So I think that's the kind of battle we're watching for at the moment.
OK, so those are the things to watch, and a lot of people asking about whether this is, a fundamental shift, a regime change, perhaps, within the crypto space. Away from crypto, let's look ahead. Let's look to the CPI number coming out later on today, of course. JP Morgan, I was reading some of the coverage of their game plan. They were suggesting in one scenario that if we got a really hot print, we could see stocks drop by as much as 6%, Mark. What are the types of outcomes you're thinking about for CPI?
Oh, that sounds pretty punchy. I hadn't quite realised it was that much. Look, I think it's important to realise that the whisper number seems to be a little bit lower today, 0.5% month-on-month from the core. Everyone I'm seeing is saying, hey, not everyone, but many people are saying slightly softer, and I think the true consensus is a little bit lower. I am expecting a softer print today, and I think it will get an initial reaction, be quite powerful. Certainly core CPI has driven the market this year, but we may not get the follow-through as too exciting overall. Where am I expecting to see it play out best? I think maybe FX is where you get the most sustainable move.
Yeah, and let me go to that next. I mean, worth noting that Shelter, of course, as always, something to watch. 31% of the index has Shelter peaked, seems to be something that some are asking. In terms of FX, we actually see quite a bit of weakness in the dollar, in keeping perhaps with a bit of a sell-off in Asian stocks. Where does that head today, do you think, Mark, or longer term?
I still think dollar can continue weakening into year-end. I think it was probably put in a long-term peak. I expect it to have extra spikes next year because the Fed will probably ultimately hike more than is priced at the moment, but it may not break the peaks we've already seen. I certainly think dollar can continue to soften against EM currencies.
OK, remember, you can get up-to-date analysis and insight from Mark and the rest of the Markets Live team. NLIV Go is the function to use on your Bloomberg terminal. They have lots, of course, on crypto, on the inflation outlook, and indeed on the politics where it meets markets.